So if you're interested in photography, all you have to do is go out and try. Mimic what you see that you think looks cool, and then try to do something a little different. Yeah, I'm Ed Gilardon. I'm from Chicago. So I found myself in the early days of Instagram, when the app just came on the scene, with a lot of time on my hands. So one day I'm walking down the lakefront, the sun was setting, I have my cell phone on me, I snap a photo of the skyline, and I put it on Instagram with a generic hashtag, Chicago. People I didn't know, I guess, looked at that hashtag and were commenting on the photo saying, wow, this is beautiful, you really captured this well. And I had this thought to myself, I was like, I wasn't trying, but what if I did? Like, what if I did go out specifically to try to take photos? So I went the next day, I took my cell phone at the time with me, and I just walked around the city. I took the train downtown, I photographed everything, I tried different angles, and I actually tried to take cool photos, or what I thought were cool photos. Been at it since then, just constantly taking photos. But I guess you could say Chicago was the inspiration behind me wanting to at least try to take photos. Yeah, it's interesting. So I started, taking photos just to see if I could do it. And then as I got better at it, and now I try to go to places with photography in mind. So like one of my favorite places that I went to was Japan. And I went to these specific places that you see on Instagram, like the bamboo forest in Kyoto and the Shinjuku district in Tokyo. I now travel with the intent on going to places that are going to make interesting photos and putting myself in positions and spaces where I feel like I can make interesting photos. And travel is very much connected to my desire to photograph things. In a sense, I see myself continuing to do that constantly throughout the rest of my life, going places that I find interesting to photograph the culture, the people, the sights, the scenes, not unlike what I'm doing here in Chicago, but just in a different part of the world. So I've got this little photo project I've been working on. I keep it mostly to myself. I call it my 4-block radius. The idea behind it was to challenge myself to take photos within a 4-block radius of wherever I'm at. So if I'm living in any location, I go out and I walk 4 blocks around where I live and try to make photos, document the people, the businesses, the scenes on the street over and over and over again. If I'm on vacation, I do the same thing. I wake up early in the morning and I'll walk 4 blocks around from wherever I'm staying, and I'll just make photos of anything within those 4 blocks. But specifically, this neighborhood in Chinatown has kind of been my muse for, I don't want to say like 4 years now. I just keep going out, walking up and down Wentworth, making photos of everything that I see. Throughout the years, throughout the seasons, I just keep photographing them. My idea and my hope is that one day I can show these images to somebody in the future, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, and they're gonna look at them and they're gonna find it remarkable. They're gonna look at it and say, wow, look how different Chicago was. Look how different the city looked back then. The streets are completely different. This business is no longer there. Look how people were dressed. For instance, right now, we're at the tail end of the pandemic. Everyone's still wearing masks. Years from now, we're gonna look at these images and we're gonna say, wow, this was during that pandemic. People were wearing masks. That must have been crazy to be living back then. And I wanna photograph all of it. See what happens on the street today. See what happens on tomorrow. It's always interesting.